Going to a maid cafe with Pomu specifically was a completely different experience. First of all, Pomu got this set where she wanted I think she bought like this, I don't know, it was like this thing where she could like choose a chant. First of all, she can choose a song for the maid to perform, I think. And then she can choose a chant. So I didn't know this, but apparently like the ta 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 taiga is an actual chant. It wasn't something that Pomu made up. I thought this entire time Pomu Rainpuff made up that Diamond City Lights chant. It already exists. And she just like integrated it into the song like a pro. And I was just like, what? I don't know these things, okay? I low-key was just like, oh my god, she's a legend. I mean, she still is a legend, but I just thought it was like something that was made up, you know? After that, after she chose her song and the chant, and she actually like took her time. She was like, she literally had some trouble like, you know, deciding on a chant. And I was like, wow, I didn't know there were so many chants. So then she bought like a light stick, and I didn't really understand at that point what she was about to do. I kind of just thought she was gonna sit there and be like, let's go, you know? And then before the maid performed, Pomu mumbled under her breath. I was sitting next to Pomu, okay? I don't know if anybody else heard, but she kind of like said very softly, she was like, well, it's time to embarrass myself. And I was like, I didn't know what she meant. I went to the bathroom, and while I went to the bathroom, they were about to start the performance. So like I got back just in time, and Pomu was like, when I got back from the bathroom, the seating arrangements were like different. Like there was like, we made like space, and Pomu was standing up. And then like I was sitting on a chair next to where Pomu was like standing, and I was just like, I was still confused at that point. I was like, what's going on? Pomu was the only person in that maid cafe who was standing up with like these like shiny glow sticks in her hands, waiting for this maid to perform. Okay? And I sat down. The music starts. The maid is not even singing. She's like lip singing. So I'm like, oh, okay. But she's actually dancing. And she's very, very cute. So the maid starts like lip singing and also dancing. And then it gets to like, we're like 10 seconds in. And Pomu, I don't even know how to explain it. Pomu like is in a different position. She's like, you know how people who run marathons or like races, it's like ready, set, go. Pomu was like in gear 1, and then when it hit like the first stanza of her chant, she was like, I was like, whoa! Pomu was even more extravagant than the maid that was performing on the stage. Like it was like I was watching a competition. It was like on the right side, this maid was dancing like kira kira kyu kyu hanaka kawaii yang. And on the left side, it felt like I was watching a metal concert from this little tiny girl. Like it was just like Yasha. Like she was screaming, guys. I'm not even joking. I can't even like mimic it because like I would die. It was the best maid experience I've ever had in my life. Every time I think about like chants, you know, the normie side of me is like, otakus. They're so nerdy. But like when Pomu did it, oh my god, I was like low-key inspired. Like I would never do this, but like I was moved. I was like, I've never seen anybody so passionate about like cheering for someone else's performance. And this woman that's dancing on the stage isn't actually even singing, you know? She's not even like Michael Jackson, but like you are giving your entire existence to this lady. And like she was like no wonder she's actually really good at like screamo, because she was screaming. Like I promise you, she has 10 times more stamina than Ike Evelyn. I swear, like, oh my god, she was like dancing and screaming at the same time. And like, you know, nobody else in this maid cafe energy was even half or even 1/3 there. We were all noobs. Okay, she was so professional. Even the maids were like, oh my god, like we should just let this woman buy our maid cafe. Like we should stop working here. Like, oh my god, it was so beautiful. I actually was so touched. I've never ever been touched by like just a person with pure passion and screaming a chant. I don't know what the fuck she was saying. I didn't know what the song was. I don't know who the fuck these maids were. I just know that Pomu Rainpuff was standing beside me, giving her entire existence to this one lady who was performing. And honestly, quite frankly, Pomu was like outshining her. I'm sorry, this is probably a biased thing, but I was looking at Pomu the whole time. I know the maid was like dancing and singing, but I don't remember her dancing and singing. I remember looking at Pomu like chanting, and that's all I watched. I was just like looking at her the entire time. And Pomu was so energetic that like the room full of like dead people started to come alive. Like by the end of the last chorus, during the last chorus, some of the other guys in the mid, like people who I didn't know, like strangers, they started getting like hyped up too, you know? Pomu would be like, "Watcha, watcha!" The other people would be like, "Yeah, yeah, you know, they weren't, you know, as energetic, but they were getting into it, and we were all getting into it, you know? Like it was like literally real Pomufication. I was very, very blessed. And then Pomu was so good that like the maids of the cafe came over to our table and they were like, "Thank you so much for your passionate chant." And then Pomu, switching back to her default mode, being really shy, was like, "Oh no, it's okay." And I was like, "What the fuck?" I looked at Pomu. I'm gonna be honest. After that day, I never saw Pomu as the same person again. I was like, I can't believe you're in this company with me. You're so much like, you're like heaven tier. Why are you here? I swear to God, if I ever have dementia, I might forget everything else in my life, but I will never forget that moment. I might forget my son's name, my daughter's name, my father's name, and my mother's name, and my lover's name, but I will never forget Pomu Rainpuff. That's how memorable it was. It is ingrained into my soul. The PP was so strong. It was so strong. She really is the senpai of NIJISANJI EN. Holy shit. That was beautiful.